Have you ever felt a moment so profound, so quietly life-altering, that it shifted how you see the world, yourself, and everything in between? Maybe it was subtly a whisper of curiosity, a sudden sense that there's something more. That moment is often the beginning of a spiritual awakening. A spiritual awakening is not a single event, it's a journey. And like any journey of depth, it doesn't move in a straight line, it spirals. You revisit old wounds, old patterns, and sometimes you leap forward only to circle back again. It's deeply personal. Still, there are common stages that show up along the way. Let's take our time to explore 5 key stages of the spiritual awakening journey. Each is rich, complex, and transformative in its own way. As you listen, reflect gently. There is no right place to be, only your place right now. Stage 1. Unconsciousness and Ego Entanglement. In the beginning, we live from the ego. This doesn't mean we're arrogant or selfish, although it can show up that way. The ego is the mental structure that tries to protect us by creating a sense of identity. It tells us who we are, based on what we've experienced, what we've been told, and what we've come to believe about ourselves and the world. In this stage, the ego is not questioned, it is us. We believe we are our thoughts, we believe we are our emotions. If we feel angry, we say, I am angry. If we feel rejected, we believe I am unworthy. This unconscious state is marked by reactivity. Life seems to happen to us. We blame others, we play roles, we chase validation, we numb our pain. We defend ourselves constantly, not realizing we are often defending a false self. The world feels like a mirror reflecting our fears and unhealed wounds. We project, we judge. We rarely pause to ask, is this true? Is this me? But even here, beneath the noise, the soul waits, silently, patiently, and sometimes something shakes the system. A loss, a breakdown, a deep dissatisfaction that nothing seems to fix. That's when the cracks begin to form, not in us, but in the mask we've been wearing. And those cracks let in light. As this stage deepens, emotional turmoil may amplify. The individual may experience cycles of stress, depression, anxiety, and a general sense of emptiness. It feels like something is missing, yet they can't quite name it. The ego tries to fill the void with distractions, material success, relationships, substances, constant activity, but nothing truly satisfies. In relationships, patterns of codependence or control may dominate. There's a tendency to attract the same types of conflict over and over again. Often, this is the soul trying to get our attention. When ignored, the messages become louder. Emotional, physical, and even spiritual symptoms can manifest. This period can last for years or even decades. However, eventually, there's a moment, sometimes quiet, sometimes dramatic, where awareness begins to pierce through the unconscious fog. It might be triggered by pain, beauty, synchronicity, or a moment of stillness. Suddenly, the realization dawns. There must be more to life than this. And just like that, the awakening begins not with fireworks, but with a question. Who am I, really? Stage 2. Ego death and identity dissolution. After the initial cracks in the ego's facade begin to show, many find themselves in what can feel like a deep unraveling. This stage is often described as ego death, a profound and sometimes unsettling dismantling of the identity we have long held as self. It's a phase where the old stories, roles, and beliefs that once defined us no longer hold meaning or power. This breakdown can feel like falling into a dark void, where everything familiar is stripped away, leaving what seems like emptiness and confusion. Ego death is not a physical death, but rather a death of the false self, the mask crafted through years of conditioning, cultural influences, personal trauma, and defense mechanisms. This mask was designed to protect, to give a sense of control and belonging. Yet, during this stage, its grip loosens and the illusion shatters. The experience can feel chaotic. Without the ego's usual scripts, you may wrestle with fundamental questions. Who am I without my career, my relationships, my beliefs? Without my titles, my labels, my pain? The stability you once relied on feels like sand slipping through your fingers. This disorientation can trigger deep grief. There's mourning for the self you thought you knew, the identity that has defined your life up to this point. It's natural to feel scared, lost, or even angry at the dissolution of what you believe to be your core. Yet, beneath the surface of this collapse lies a sacred opportunity. Ego death reveals the presence of the observer, the quiet, non-judgmental awareness that watches the play of thoughts, emotions, and sensations without being attached to any of them. For the first time, you glimpse a part of yourself that is not your story, not your pain, not your achievements or failures. You begin to see that the self you've identified with was a construct, a role shaped by external expectations and internal fears. This stage invites a radical shift in perspective, the realization that you are not your thoughts, emotions, or experiences. They are passing phenomena in consciousness, but the true you is that silent witness behind it all. This awakening can bring profound relief, even if it is accompanied by uncertainty. Many describe ego death as a peeling away of layers, like shedding skin repeatedly to reveal deeper, more authentic dimensions of self. Each layer brings more freedom, but also more responsibility to live in alignment with this new understanding. This process is rarely linear. Ego death can come in waves, triggered by external events or internal realizations. Some days feel clear and expansive, others dark and confusing. Old attachments and fears may resurface with renewed intensity, demanding attention and healing. It is important during this time to cultivate patience and compassion for yourself. The ego's dissolution can bring vulnerability and exposure, but it also opens the door to deeper self-awareness and spiritual growth. You may experience physical and emotional symptoms: fatigue, anxiety, disorientation, or a sense of emptiness. These are not signs of failure, but indications that the old structures are breaking down to make way for something new. Support is crucial, whether through meditation, therapy, spiritual guidance, or community. Finding ways to stay grounded while navigating this profound transition is key. Ultimately, ego death is a threshold. Crossing it is stepping into a new way of being less reactive, less identified with transient states, and more connected to the essence of life itself. In this space of identity dissolution, you begin to sense a profound truth. The self that remains is infinite, boundless, and free. This realization is the foundation for the next stage, the search for deeper truth and meaning beyond the ego's illusions. Stage 3. The search for truth. Once the ego's tightly woven identity begins to dissolve, and the observer within starts to reveal itself, a powerful yearning often arises, the deep and sincere desire to understand the nature of existence, the self, and the universe. This marks the beginning of the search for truth, a stage filled with curiosity, exploration, and sometimes frustration. This search is not a casual inquiry. It is a profound inner call, a hunger to grasp something real and lasting beyond the shifting shadows of the ego. You may find yourself asking the big questions. Who am I beyond my story? What is the purpose of life? Is there a higher power or ultimate reality? Why am I here? For many, this stage involves diving into spiritual teachings, philosophies, and practices from various traditions. You might find yourself reading sacred texts, listening to spiritual teachers, exploring meditation, or engaging in rituals that resonate deeply. Each discovery can bring moments of illumination, feeling like pieces of a vast cosmic puzzle clicking into place. But the search is not just intellectual, it's experiential. You begin to learn that truth is not something to be merely read or talked about, but something to be felt and lived. Meditation, contemplation, prayer, or other spiritual practices become vital tools, ways to quiet the mind, listen inwardly, and experience the subtleties of consciousness directly. Along this path, intuition emerges as a trusted guide, where once you relied heavily on external validation or rigid belief systems, you begin to tune in to an inner knowing, a gentle but persistent voice that nudges you towards what feels authentic and real. This intuition is often subtle, but unmistakable when you learn to recognize it. You may also notice synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that feel like signs from the universe. These moments affirm that you are on the right path, encouraging you to trust the unfolding process. They might be small, a repeated number sequence, a chance encounter, a sudden insight, but their impact is often profound. The search for truth is rarely a straightforward journey. Doubts, confusion, and skepticism are natural companions. You might question teachings that once felt inspiring or confront paradoxes that challenge your understanding. This is part of the process, breaking down old mental frameworks to make room for new perspectives. Importantly, this stage teaches the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is accumulation, facts, theories, ideas, while wisdom is the embodied understanding that comes from direct experience. The search encourages you to move beyond intellectualizing spirituality to embodying it in daily life. As you deepen your practice, you may begin to notice subtle shifts in perception. Life's ordinary moments start to feel charged with meaning. Nature seems more alive. Relationships take on new dimensions of connection and empathy. Even suffering can be seen in a new light as a teacher or catalyst for growth. This stage is also a test of humility. The more you learn, the more you realize how much remains unknown. This recognition opens the heart and mind to mystery, surrendering the need for absolute certainty. The search for truth often leads to a paradoxical realization. The answers are not out there to be found, but in here, within your own being. It's a journey of returning home to your authentic self, your innate wisdom, and your connection to all that is. While this stage can feel endless, it gradually transforms into a deeper state of trust and peace. The relentless seeking softens into a quiet presence, and the search begins to fade into the background as you step into the next phase, the emergence of the authentic self. Stage 4. Emergence of the authentic self. After the intense inner exploration of the search for truth, a profound transformation begins to take shape, the emergence of the authentic self. This stage marks a pivotal shift from seeking outward answers to embodying an inner truth that has been quietly growing within you. The authentic self is not a polished ideal or a perfected version of who you think you should be. It's raw, imperfect, and deeply real. It is the core of your being that has existed beneath layers of conditioning, social masks, and survival strategies. During this phase, those masks begin to fall away, revealing your genuine essence. You might notice a growing discomfort with pretense. What once felt comfortable, the roles you played to fit in, the expectations you fulfilled to please others, now feels hollow or even painful. There is a rising inner resistance to living a life that isn't aligned with your truth. This can show up in many ways, saying no more often, distancing yourself from relationships that feel draining or inauthentic, or making bold changes in your career or lifestyle. The emergence of the authentic self is a reclamation of freedom. You start to recognize that your value does not depend on external approval or achievements. You no longer need to hide your quirks, vulnerabilities, or passions. Instead, you begin to express them with honesty and courage. This stage often brings intense emotional experiences. As old identities dissolve, buried feelings can surface: grief for who you thought you were, anger for years of suppression, fear of judgment or rejection. These emotions are not setbacks but essential parts of the healing process. Allowing yourself to feel and integrate them helps clear space for your true self to thrive. You also start to reconnect with parts of yourself long forgotten: the playful child, the creative spirit, the curious learner, the compassionate heart. These aspects had often been silenced by societal conditioning or personal trauma, but now they find a voice. Boundaries become clearer. You learn to protect your energy by setting limits around what you will accept in your relationships and environment. This is not about isolation, but about creating a sacred container where your authentic self can flourish safely. The emergence phase can be challenging and sometimes lonely. Not everyone around you will understand the changes you're making or the person you're becoming. Old friendships may fade, and new connections may form with people who resonate with your evolving self. Physically, you might experience shifts to changes in energy levels, sleep patterns, or even health symptoms as your body adjusts to your deeper truths. These are signs of transformation, not something to fear. Spiritually, this stage feels like a homecoming, a return to the self before conditioning and trauma shaped your identity. It's a rediscovery of your unique gifts, passions, and purpose. Ultimately, the emergence of the authentic self is about courage, the courage to be seen as you truly are, to live according to your own values, and to embrace your full humanity with all its light and shadow. It is a powerful, liberating stage, one that lays the foundation for the final phase of spiritual awakening, living a life of alignment and integration. Stage 5. Life of alignment and integration. After the profound inner work of shedding illusions, seeking truth, and embracing your authentic self, the spiritual awakening journey naturally flows into the stage of alignment and integration. This phase is where transformation moves beyond the internal to become fully embodied in daily life. Living a life of alignment means that your thoughts, emotions, values, and actions are in harmony. It's no longer about chasing ideals or performing for approval, it's about embodying your truth in every moment. This stage reflects a deep, ongoing connection to who you are at the core, and a willingness to live that truth even when it challenges old patterns or social expectation. Integration means weaving the insights and healing from earlier stages into your everyday experience. It's the difference between understanding your authentic self intellectually and being your authentic self consistently. This can take time. Old habits and reactions still surface, but you now meet them with awareness, compassion, and choice rather than automatic response. One of the most beautiful aspects of this stage is the blossoming of self-compassion. You come to accept your imperfections and limitations with kindness rather than judgment. This acceptance isn't resignation, it's freedom, the freedom to be human without harsh self-criticism. You become your own loving parent, healer, and friend, providing the nurture and support you may have missed earlier in life. Along with self-compassion comes a natural expansion of compassion toward others. Recognizing your own journey helps you see the struggles and light in those around you. You begin to understand that everyone is on their own path, doing the best they can with the awareness they have. This realization fosters forgiveness and patience, reducing conflict and deepening your connections. Your relationships often transform during this stage. You are drawn toward people who resonate with your truth and encourage your growth. At the same time, relationships that no longer support your well-being may gently fall away. This is not loss, but an honoring of your evolving needs and values. Living in alignment also deepens your connection with the world beyond human relationships. Many experience a profound sense of interconnectedness with nature, animals, and even the elements, the earth, water, air, and fire. This awareness is not just an intellectual idea, but a felt reality. You notice the sacredness in everyday life, the whisper of wind, the colors of a sunset, the rhythm of the seasons. Spirituality becomes less about rituals or beliefs and more about presence and awareness. You learn to listen deeply to your intuition, your body, and the subtle messages from the universe. You recognize the divine in ordinary moments and in the vastness of existence. This stage doesn't promise a life without challenges, but it transforms how you meet them. Difficulties become opportunities for growth, moments to practice presence, acceptance, and resilience. You no longer resist what is. Instead, you flow with life's rhythms, trusting your inner guidance. Physically, this alignment can manifest as greater vitality and well-being. Many notice a natural rhythm to their days, honoring rest and activity, nourishment and movement. The body is seen as a sacred temple, a partner in the journey rather than a separate entity to be controlled. Emotionally and mentally, there is a balance between openness and groundedness. You hold space for vulnerability and strength, curiosity and clarity. This balanced state supports creativity, joy, and meaningful contribution. Ultimately, the life of alignment and integration is about living with integrity and wholeness. It's a dynamic process, sometimes challenging, always evolving. But through it, you embody the profound truth that you are enough, just as you are. This stage invites you to embrace your full humanity while dancing with the mystery of existence. It is the culmination of the awakening journey, a continuous unfolding that invites presence, love, and the courage to live your deepest truth every day. Final words. The journey of spiritual awakening is deeply personal, uniquely yours, and unlike any other. It's not a race or a checklist, but a sacred unfolding, a dance between light and shadow, certainty and mystery. Wherever you find yourself on this path, remember to honor your experience with kindness and patience. There will be moments of clarity and moments of doubt, times of peace and times of upheaval. Each stage, each feeling is a vital part of your growth. Trust that even when the path feels uncertain, you are moving toward a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. Awakening is not about perfection or arriving somewhere better. It's about becoming more real, more aligned with your true nature and the interconnectedness of all life. It's about embracing your wholeness with compassion for yourself and others. Thank you for allowing me to walk with you through these stages. If this exploration has resonated with you, consider sharing it with others who might benefit. Your journey matters. Your light matters. Keep unfolding, keep questioning, and above all, keep loving yourself fiercely. The path is yours to walk, and every step you take is a miracle. Until next time, be gentle with yourself and trust the unfolding.